Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Marguerite here. Welcome back to the Ultimate Beyblade Collection Toy Review, Part 4, and back to the toy reviews in general, by yours truly. So, I change up the intro for today, but just to kind of preface things for this sort of mini-series, I am going to let you guys know that if you haven't watched the previous parts, I will leave links to, in this case, this is Part 4, correct? Yes, this is Part 4. So I will leave a link once this is uploaded to Part 3, so you guys can watch that. And just like I did in Part 2, I'll do that. And also, just to make it even more simple, if you want to watch all the parts in series, and if you like in one go, it's always up on the playlist. And on Part 1, I will be leaving links to all the parts in the description. So in Part 1, you guys can just click the links to Parts 2, 3, 4, and so on, right from Part 1. Just to make it really easy on you guys, if you don't want to go through the playlist and dig through that. So I'll be doing that for you guys, just so you guys know. But anyways, so last time we last left off, we left off at this Recolor of Unlock Unicorn. So let's move on swiftly here with the next Beyblade in the box. That being Chaos. Now, Chaos is a stamina type, as he should be, and this guy is kind of interesting because its original release into Karatomi, you could only get this in a multi-pack, but here in the US, we got it in a 2-pack along with a Wyvern Recolor we're going to look at later. So anyway, so this is Chaos, and this is one of the few instances where Hasbro actually keeps the Japanese name, which is nice to see. Now, Chaos is obviously based on, well, the idea of chaos. So, but in this case, Chaos is interpreted as this sort of a single mono-eyed kind of demon creature. At the end, I'll show you guys all the avatars of the Beyblades as well, because I bet you guys are probably curious of what they look like. So I'll be doing that as well at the end of the series, once we get, it's like a final kind of extras episode. So that's going to get its own episode. So anyway, back to Chaos here. Very nice looking Beyblade. Very nice decals on it. As you guys can see, kind of has this glyph kind of like insignias engraved into the polycarbonate here, which looks very nice. You do get to see the C there for Chaos in the middle. Very nice to see. Now, because again of how weak this Beyblade is, I have modified it so that it's actually playable and actually usable. So, but I won't show you the parts from what you guys can see, and you guys will see them better later because most of these parts are reused in other Beyblades in the collection here. So in this Beyblade release, we do get the oval disc, which is nice. As you can kind of make out, it is just an ovular shape. And on the top, it does have some engravings, which you'll see on a later Beyblade, that being Minoboros. And we do get to see the driver here, which is called Gyro. Now, Gyro has this free-spinning inner piece. It's kind of hard to see. The camera would focus. 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 Come on. Focus on the thing. There we go. Okay, so yeah, see, it has this free-spinning inner piece that when it's in the stadium, it will cause it to basically spin in place. Now, this gimmick, actually, into Karatomi and Hasbro works very well for what it is. So, I'll give it that. So that is Chaos. Very nice looking. Now, in the God Layer system, we also surprisingly got an upgrade to it in the form of this next Beyblade, Deep Chaos. So this is Deep Chaos. Oh, and also, actually, no. Also, let me correct the previous statement by saying that no, Hasbro did not actually keep the original Japanese name. Its US name is called K-Nox, so I apologize. So it did not keep the Japanese name. So my apologies. So in the US, this would basically be called Deep K-Nox, not Chaos, but for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to call it Chaos through the remainder of the video, even though it is the US version and it's K-Nox, but, you get the idea. So back to Deep Chaos here. I really like this design a lot. Compared to the original Chaos, we can see below here, there is a significant change in design. For starters, now it kind of has this little, I'm not going to say it's a cross, but it has like this little star part on what looks like the head of Chaos staring at you. Looks really cool. And as you can see, it has 6 eyes on each side, so basically a total of 12 eyes staring at you. Kind of scary looking. And The whole gimmick with the layer of Deep Chaos is that it has this spring-loaded shock absorber, as you guys can see. Now, in practice, this actually works really well, as it can absorb even the most aggressive attacks by just pushing this plastic bit down. So I do like that. And again, for such a subtle gimmick, it actually works really well. Now, as you guys may or may not be able to see, there's actually little springs there you can actually see like undulating there as I push the plastic down. So kind of nice to see on Deep Chaos. So that is the layer. Very nice looking. Nice colors to it as well. And in this, we also get some reissue parts. We get the 4 disc, as we will see. I'm just going to take it out of the frame here, because I don't think we've actually looked at the frame, but this is a reissue piece, the 4 disc. So nice to see. And we do get the flow frame, and we get it in this nice black color, like this ashy kind of smoky black, which I really like. Now, the whole gimmick of the flow frame is pretty self-explanatory. So it has these little wings here that you can see. Now, just like the boost disc and not the boost disc, the wing disc, more accurately speaking here, is that the whole point of these little wings is to help channel the air under the Beyblade, kind of helping it spin faster. So that's the kind of idea of this. Also, Zen22, welcome to the stream. So clicking the disc back in, there you go. That is the form flow disc together, disc and frame. Then lastly, we get the most broken part of this Beyblade, which is the driver. This is called, what is this, bearing. Yes, the bearing driver. Now, for the US, surprisingly, there actually are ball bearings in this, which is really cool. So the whole gimmick of this is that it actually has ball bearings, like, like skateboards and stuff have. Yeah, it has a miniature ball bearing system in here that basically makes it spin indefinitely, and this thing is amazing because this thing can literally lean on its side and it will still keep spinning. And that's why Deep Chaos was so overpowered for a while, especially for Hasbro's version where the teeth are actually better than on Takara Tomi's. And more importantly, the bearing driver was one of the most used parts in Beyblade Burst God because of its amazing life after death properties. This thing was absolutely insane. Because look at this. I can spin it in between my fingers. I can actually spin it like that. Which looks really, really cool. So there you go. That is Deep Chaos. Really cool Beyblade. Really OP part down here. Of course, this is now heavily outclassed now, but still. I did. I was going to.
That would be enough. Okay, so you're in here filming about nothing, and you could be in there giving your mom a hug and a kiss.
Well, I was going to do that after.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, hurry up.
Okay.
Because that's not important. She is.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry for that little interruption. Anyway, so it looks like I'm gonna have to rush this video a little bit. So again, excuse that. But moving swiftly along here, we're gonna take a look at another dual layer Beyblade next. Also, Faithful Twilight, welcome to the stream. And today next we're gonna take a look at. Oh, jeez. Hang on, let me just quickly grab it. I took it apart. Nova Neptune. So this was the Beyblade I was talking about in the last episode that came with the trans driver. Now, for the US release, we didn't get trans, sadly. Though thankfully in Beyblade Burst God / Evolution in the US, we did get to see the part finally make a appearance in the toy line. So as we can see, Nova Neptune is obviously enough based on Neptune, the god of the sea. Now this is a recolor of, I should have prefaced that earlier, it is a recolor. And it is a balanced type, even though the color completely contradicts this. But still, nonetheless, it is a really cool looking balanced type. So looking at the layer here, let me take the parts off for you so you can see it better. There you have the layer, and as you can see, we do have Poseidon right there with his crown. And I don't know if you guys can see, but his eyes are peering through the crown there, which looks really cool. We have the little stylized N for, obviously, Nova Neptune. And it has these little blue waves going around it as well, which look really nice. And also, I don't know if you guys can also pick that up as well. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. But there's little bubble details going around as well, which again looks really cool and adds to the whole water theme of Neptune. Looks really, really nice. So that is Nova Neptune there. So next up we get the disc, which is called Vertical. Now Vertical, this is not the first time we see this disc. We first see it in Wild Wyvern, but here we get a reissue of it. And so Vertical has these little like crown-like protrusions going around. And the whole point of this is to basically help with weight distribution and help to equalize the balance between the surface area of the layer and just the surface area of the middle of the Beyblade in general. So that's the whole point of Vertical. Very nice looking. So, nice part. And a nice gimmick. Then lastly, we get to look at the driver, which is called Zephyr. Now, this is not the first time we see Zephyr. Zephyr actually came on its pre-evolution, which was simply called Neptune. And in this case, we get it in a nice blue color. Now, the whole point of it is you see this little hole, like, tip there, and how flat it is. Now, the hole actually is supposed to help with retaining speed whilst it's moving aggressively in the stadium due to the flatness of the driver. So, that's the whole point of Zephyr. Very good driver. Now, this was improved by Takara Tomy later with Zephyr Dash, which basically has stronger clicks on it, or stronger slopes if you're going for the US, but of course they weren't released here in the US, sadly. But still, it is nice to see. So there you have Nova Neptune. Very nice looking. Oh, and also, just as a little fun fact, its US name was Nova Nepstrius in the US. So, nice little fun fact there. Now, next, we're going to take a look at the first version of this Beyblade that we looked at in, I believe it was either part 2 or part 3. It was last episode. It was part 2, I believe. Yeah. Killer Deathscyther. So, you guys remember this guy, right? Well, this is his pre-evolution. Deathscyther. Well, actually, not even his pre-evolution. This was his first version ever. Was Deathscyther. Again, simply called. So, this is a recolor of it. And as you guys can see, it is based, again, on the Grim Reaper. Still an attack type this time around. As all of them are, actually, attack type. Now, as you can see, pretty simplistic design. We have the Grim Reaper there with his skull, and it's hard to pick up because of the plastic, but there is a detailed nose and teeth there. And we also have a scythe going up, and this is supposed to be his long, sharp scythe coming down, which looks really, really cool. I really like that design there. And also, again, this doesn't pick up well on camera because of the plastic, but there also is a bony hand grabbing onto the scythe, which, again, is a really cool detail. So, really do like Deathscyther. Very, very nice looking Beyblade. Actually, the light might actually help you guys see the details. Let's see. The camera will focus. There you go. See, now you can see the bony hand and the teeth and the nose there. Very nice details. So there you have Deathscyther there. And we do get to see the oval disc on this release. I forgot that it was in it. As you can see, very ovular. Really good for attack because of how off balance it is. So really nice to see. And also has these nice little swirly things going through it as well, which looks very nice. Then lastly, we get the driver, which is called XSL. And we already seen this before with Valkyrie, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But we get it in green, which is nice to see on this particular version. So, there you go. That is Deathscyther. Very cool. Now, actually, I'm actually going to take a break here to go do as my dad asked me earlier. So, be right back. And once I get back, we're going to take a look at its second evolution, Dark Deathscyther. So, be right back. Alright guys, so let's get right back on track here with what I was talking about before we let our little break here. We are going to be taking a look at, again, like I said earlier before I went away, let's get right back here with Dark Deathscyther. Here he is. Dark Deathscyther. So very nice looking Beyblade. And as you can clearly see, very much definitely evolves on the Deathscyther aesthetic. As you can see, like we had before, we do have the skull kind of face there, which is very nice. We do get to see the caped look as well. I did.
Done?
No. I already went to see Mom. I already did it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
I did. You can ask her yourself. I was there.
Really?
Yeah. I was there. As I did by the camera. Dad, what are you doing?
I don't know.
I see you, Dad. Sorry about that, guys. That was my dad photobombing me, so I apologize. Back to Dark Deathscyther here. Looks so nice. I love the details on this thing. For a little bit, this was my favorite Beyblade design, and one of my favorite attack types as well. Now, again, in the US, this was called, instead of Dark Deathscyther, it was called Dark Doomscyther in the US, because obviously we can't have death here in the US, especially with kids. But again, Japan gets away with that kind of stuff, so good job, Japan. Go on with your death and your killing and your demons. Anyway, so Killer Deathscyther here, or Dark Deathscyther. God, why do I keep calling it by its god evolution? Why? Anyway, Dark Deathscyther here. Look, again, very nice layer there, and let me get into some of the other details that you can see here, if the camera would focus. There we go. You can see the bony hand right there. Again, the skull kind of face, the cape going around. And you do have, this time, a much bigger sickle-like scythe going on here, with even a little bit of slack on the hilt there, which is really nice. And it does go all the way around there. And then we have this little clear part there with a little bit of blue picked out on the top there in the plastic. So there you go. Dark Deathscyther. Very nice looking layer. Now moving on, we also do get to see the Force disc. Now this is not the initial release. We actually got this with a Beyblade called Excalibur, which you guys are going to see later. But this is its kind of second release, second issue of this part. And it looks really nice if the camera would focus. There we go. So you can see it has nice detail, has some nice riveting kind of details, and these nice little shield bits going around. And we obviously enough to have Eps for Force on the sides engraved there. Then lastly, we do get to see the Jaggy driver. This was its introduction, was with Deathscyther here. Dark Deathscyther in this case. So, again, not going to say too much about it, because we already looked at it earlier on, who was it that had Jaggy on it? Oh god, who was it? I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh right, it was with the Unlock Unicorn Recolor. So there you go. And it's its first release with Dark Deathscyther. Now again, I am going to do a quick comparison here with its god evolutions. That way you guys can see the differences between those two. So there you go. As a matter of fact, let's get the whole lineage here. There we go. Now you can see all the different evolutions and how all the different designs transcended up to the god design. So really nice to see there. So next up here, we're going to take a look at some recolors swiftly here with this recolors that we got of Horror Suit and Holy Horror Suit. Starting off with Horror Suit here. Now, we already looked at him before, but basically this is the same guy, just with this nice blue and purple and kind of like this lavender color going on. Now, something I don't like about this Beyblade, kind of a con I have, and something I don't like about this Beyblade, is that I don't like this urine kind of yellow color that's going on. It just looks unsettling and kind of breaks up the nice blue and purple, but that's just me. Though I do actually like the lime green on the eye there of Horus himself, which looks really nice. So I do like that, but it's just this urine yellow just doesn't look good, man. Why did they go with that color? Anyway, I'm not going to rant on too long about that, but anyway, we do get this spread disc again. Nice to see. This was first issue with Spriggan, so there you go. Not going to talk too much about that. And then we do get a nice green edge driver. So nice to see. So there you go. There you have that. Now for comparison, I am going to bring in the original version we looked at in part 1, I believe. It was either part 1 or part 2. So there you go. There you have them. So you have the two horse suits together. If the camera would focus. God, why does my camera not like to focus? Focused on you. There we go. Now you can see the two versions together. Birds of a feather flock together. There we go. So, nice little pun there. So next we're going to take a look at the recolor of Holy Horse suit, which is this really nice red color. I really like this. And instead of having it yellow like on the original version of this part, we have it in black, and then the other one is in silver, which is really cool. I like that. And we do get some nice kind of red details on the eye of Horus up there. We do get silver on the kind of insignias going around the sides, and blue for the sort of tail feathers or this extra little bit of plumage there, which is really cool. I really like how this layer looks. And again, and let's see if the camera will focus, you can see it in better detail there. Very nice looking. I really do like Holy Horus suits, so very nice. I like this recolor a lot. And afterwards, after I show you the parts, I will do a comparison, so don't worry. Next, we do get to see just a reissue of the upper disc. Now, not much to say here because I already looked at it before with its original color for the US, so there you go. So, and then we also have the driver here as well, which is Claw. We already saw this before, but now in this nice kind of powder blue color, which looks, again, really pretty. I do like it. And again, it goes nice with the blue on the plumage. So there you go. Now for comparison, again, we are going to bring in Holy Horse suit, the original version. So there you go. There you have the two there. So very nice to see. Now, just a little fun fact here I'm going to throw in as well, is that the US name was called Hyper Horse suit instead of Holy Horse suit, because obviously of their religious connotations. So good on you, Hasbro, for your silly censorship. So anyway, moving right along, we're going to take a look at the next Beyblade here, which is the US version of a Beyblade we already looked at in part 1, which is Lost Longinus. Wow, I mean, even someone like me mixes names up. Jeez. Anyway, so this is Lost Longinus, but in this particular name for the U.S., this was changed from Longinus to Lost Longinus to Lost Luinor. So there you go. They have Lost Longinus here. Very nice. As you can see, it does still have the metal on it, which is kind of shocking for Hasbro these days to actually have the metal on the layer. But there you go. Looks really cool. And again, for comparison, just because we're going to bring in the Japanese Lost Longinus so you can see the two of them there. Very nice looking together. And then we do get the disc here, which unlike the original, which was blue and actually painted, now it's actually just this drab silver. Boo! Anyway, so again, I already shared my thoughts and feelings on this on the original Lost Longinus from Japan, but yeah, there you go. And then we also do get to see the spiral driver, this time in a drab kind of gray. Boo! Alright, so there you go. There you have Lost Longinus, the US version. Really nice looking. Again, as you kind of already got from earlier, is that I don't like the colors on this one at all. The only reason why I got this is, one, to have the copy, just in case my Japanese version breaks, which is highly unlikely, but also just to have it just to complete the collection, because I am a bit of a completionist with this stuff. Except for some parts, though, because some parts are rarer than others. But for what I could get a hold of, yeah, that will do. Alright, so now, moving right along to, back to the dual layer system, still again, we're going to be taking a look at the second evolution of the Beyblade I was referencing before, Excalibur, that being Xenoexcalibur, which in the US was changed to Xenoexcalibur. So, there you go. So, Xenoexcalibur, really nice looking. So, as you can see, it is based on the aforementioned, the respective sword from the Arthurian Tales. And we do get to see the dragon heads there. And this is an attack type, by the way. So just to make sure we're all on the same page here, that this is an attack type, if it wasn't obvious by the aggressive design. But there you go. So we have the swords going between there, kind of clashing there in the shape of an X for Excalibur. And unlike the Japanese, the only real issues I have with this layer are the fact that there's no ruby kind of detail on here, there's no sword detail going on down here, and there's no flame details going up and in between the swords here. So, boo! So there you go. But still, I do like the look of this bay, nonetheless. Jokes aside, this is a very nice looking layer, and I think that this really, really is a nice Beyblade. So there you go. Xenoexcalibur, very nice Beyblade there. Or just a layer part. Then we also get the disc, which was first introduced with Xenoexcalibur. Sorry, my tongue's not wanting to work. So there you go. This is Magnum. Now Magnum pretty much functions the same way as Polish does, where it has a bit of plastic and a bit of metal in there for the weight. And the whole gimmick behind it is that in this case, when the disc and the layer are lined up perfectly, when it clicks, as you will see, the disc will line up perfectly with the protrusions on the layer, thus adding to this kind of double strike attack mode kind of thing, which in practice actually works decently well and actually does lead to some pretty awesome burst finishes. So there you go. There you have that. So very nice disc. And I like the name Magnum. Just sounds professional, sounds powerful. Anyway, jokes aside, let's get on with the driver here. So here you have the driver. This is Impact Driver. Yeah, very nice name, Impact. So Impact, for such an epic name, this driver doesn't do very much. I'm kind of disappointed. So the whole gimmick with it is that it has rubber, right? And it has this little bit of plastic going on. Oh, the camera will focus. Focus. There you go. So you can see the rubber there. The black part is the rubber. And then everything else is plastic. And the whole gimmick is that with the rubber, it's supposed to make it spin around fast. And the plastic's supposed to help retain stamina and help with giving the driver additional control, whilst it is kind of aggressively banking around the stadium. So there you go. So that's the whole point of Impact. And it does have this nice little kind of rocket crashing into the earth kind of aesthetic going on for Impact, or like some kind of aggressive missile or something going on there, which I do like. So there you have Xenoexcalibur. Very, very nice looking. Now this next bit of Beyblades we're going to take a look at here are actually come from the Evolution line or the God line for Hasbro. Now, back in the Recolor system, these were kind of a shock to most people, including myself, because Hasbro at this point has mostly just been doing reissues of what Japan was offering at the time. And now they were actually doing their own custom designs. And let's just say they got a bit crazy with the designs and actually did some really cool stuff here with their first kind of dip into making their own custom designs. That being the first Beyblade here, which came out again in 2017 with Diametes D2, also known as simply Diametes. So there you go. Now Diametes is an attack type and is based on the Greek hero Diametes. There's not really much I could really found online about Diametes other than he was a hero in Greek mythology. So as you can see, if the camera will focus, you can see Diametes' head there with the helmet and the eye there. And as you can also see, there also is a bow and arrow aesthetic, this being the top of the bow and this being the arrow that's about to be shot out. We also do have these little arrowhead protrusions coming out the sides here, and these arrowheads all forming up in the middle with a bow that is shaped like the letter D for, obviously enough, Diametes. So there you go. Now, unlike the Japanese, where they usually have some kind of word that goes along with it, like Xeno Excalibur, Lost, Longinus, this time around it's just Diametes. Just one name. That's it. No interesting surname. That's it. Just Diametes. So there you go. And in this particular version, we get to see it in this nice green color. So there you go. There is Diametes. And next, go take a look at the disc, which is triple. We already looked at this before with Obelisk Odin, so not going to say too much about it, other than it actually does help with the kind of triangular design and helping to reinforce those contact points. So it really helps out there. And we also get the umpteenth reissue of Excel, this time and again a powder blue color. So nice to see. So there you go. That is Diametes, and for the first version, or the first release of, or for the first kind of design that Hasbro came out with, gotta say, a nice one to start with, an attack type. Now, of course, with an attack type, we can't have an attack type just by itself. No, Hasbro made a defense type, respectively. That being their first one, Hyris, H2, also known simply as Hyris. So there you go. So Hyris is kind of a niche design, and you would kind of think that this looks a lot like Horrorsuit, which I'm definitely thinking they took inspiration from that. But the avatar for this is kind of weird. So this is based on some kind of dragon troll thing that blows on a horn. I'm not joking. It's based on a troll that wears dragon-like armor that blows a horn to make music. That's what this is based on. Now, of course, but if you didn't, but of course, to the common person, you would just think it was a bird. But nope, it's not a bird at all. So, good job, Hasbro, making probably the weirdest design ever. So there you go. So we on the sides here, we can actually see the bird heads there. So very nice to see. And we do get to see the respective horns there, or the kind of like, just sort. I'm guessing they're kind of like Viking horns in a way, I guess. And then we have a stylized little logo here that is obviously in the shape of an H for Hyris. So there you go. So again, because of how bad the slopes are on this one again is modified. So I will show you the parts as best as I can with what we got to really see here. So in this, we do get to see the Yell disc. Now, this isn't the first time we saw this, as this disc this initially debuted with Acid Anubis, I believe we're going to look at later, but this is its reissue for Hasbro. So there you go. Nice to see that disc come back. And we also get to see the needle driver return as well in a lime green color. And for comparison, we're going to bring in Evil Eye's needle, so that way you can see the differences there. Much brighter green. So there you go. That is Hyris. Now, actually, they also did a second defense type as well, oddly enough, that being probably the most broken dual-layer Beyblade they ever released, if I wouldn't have dropped it and bumped it into the tripod. We're going to be taking a look at Orpheus. So this is kind of a niche reference, but Orpheus is actually based on the historical Orpheus, who was a famous musical composer during the golden renaissance of the Greek of ancient Greece. So that's who he is based on. He is based on a musical composer, that being Orpheus, respectively. So as you can see, we can see Orpheus's face there with his eyes. And we do get to see the harp there and the musical notes respective to the composer himself. And as you can also notice that the whole entire contact, the outer part that's actually going to make contact in battle, is shaped like a harp, which is really, really cool. And funny and more interestingly enough, the actual historical Orpheus did actually play music on a harp, so really fits. And we also do have a O there for Orpheus there, so you can see. There you go. We have a stylized O for Orpheus. So very nice to see. And with this, we also do get to see the armed disc make its return. This was initially debuted with Neptune or Estrus for the US release. And nice to see this. I don't think we've actually looked at this, so go do a brief explanation of the whole point of armed. The whole point of armed is basically to provide weight distribution and to provide a little bit of defense with these little kind of nubby parts. So there you go. Also, if I didn't state it before, Orpheus is a defense type. So there you go. So there's the layer there and the disc. Then lastly, we get the umpteenth issue of Defense, that being in this nice powder blue color. So again, for comparison, we're going to bring in Kirby's version that it initially debuted with. So there you go. Very nice to see another reissue of Defense. So very nice to see. And again, putting it together, it does look really, really nice. I like how the blue accents this very bright sunflower yellow and orange. Now, the reason why I said this is the most overpowered of the dual layer Beyblades that were released for, in terms of Hasbro's original designs, is that, yeah, the slopes on this thing are super tight. I mean, not even Valkyrie can burst this thing. And Valkyrie can burst everybody, so that's kind of a problem. So there you go. Orpheus, good job on you, being probably the most powerful dual layer ever released. My god. So, and again, just to make it clear with the Hasbro versions, is that you cannot find these through Takara Tomy. There are rumors going around, and well, they have been and still are going around that these are actually canceled Takara Tomy designs. But again, Hasbro, neither Takara or Hasbro have confirmed this, but there are rumors going around for that. So take that how you will. So next up here, we're going to take a look at their stamina type that they released, which, oh my god, this thing is so bad. That being Estrus I2, also known simply as Estrus. So Estrus is kind of another weird design, as it's based on a knight-like character with feathery wings that fires arrows. Yeah, how you get that out of this design, I have no idea, but good job on you, Hasbro. So focusing in here, we can see Estrus there with the I for Estrus. Now you may be thinking, wait, isn't it upside down? No, it is not. This is actually how you're supposed to look at it. So, as you can see, it does have the blue eyes there, and if we can focus, we do have nice detail on the helmet. And these are supposed to represent the kind of feathery wings going down here. And as you can see, it is very square for a stamina type. Now, again, another issue I have with this Beyblade, the slopes on this thing are so weak. I had to super glue this thing, because otherwise this thing just doesn't work. It's so bad. Like, Hasbro, what were you doing? You knew you were going to make an aggressive design, and yet you made the slopes so crap. I mean, my god. So, anyway, because it's super glue, we're going to take a look at the parts here the best I can do here. So we do get to see the upper disc return, which is very nice to see. And, is it the upper disc? Yes, it is the upper disc. Okay, just making sure I was mentioning the right part there. And we also do get to see the survive disc driver make a return as well, which is nice to see, in a nice yellow color. So there you go. Estrus I2. Great design, but poor actual performance. My god. Alright, so moving away from Estrus, which we will see recolors of some of these Hasbro designs later on, we're going to be moving swiftly on to their balance, to the next attack type they made. I was looking at the other balance type in the box. Anyway, so moving on, we're going to take a look at Surtur. So there we go. So Surtur, obviously enough, is based on Surtur, the sort of lava rock demon deity of Norse mythology. So there you go. So Surtur is very nice, as we can see. He does have the sort of golem head going on here with his piercing eyes staring through. And we can see we have his sword going through as well, with some nice fiery details going on, as if the sword is like blazing on fire, and he's kind of slashing the sword. So really, really cool design there. I do like this. Now again, because of the performance, I did have to modify this one, because again, the slopes are kind of crap on this one, which doesn't help for a Beyblade with such an aggressive design. So good job, Hasbro. So looking at the parts here, we do have the spread disc, which is nice to see. Again, we already saw this with Spriggan or Spryzen, so not much to say there. And also we do get to see the Quake driver as well make a return in this nice sort of metallic blue color. It's nice to see. So there you go. And also does have this nice S logo for Surtur there, so very nice. Also, sorry if you guys hear some noise in the background. My dad is grabbing more, it looks like construction paper from my drawers in the background, so I do apologize. But moving swiftly along, we're going to take a look at their first and at the time their only balance type for their original releases, that being Tyros T2. Now, Tyros, or just that's a simply known name as Tyros, is actually isn't really based on anything. Oh, the avatar for this is just a knight-like character who has a wolf or some kind of like coyote or something on a chain. So, good job, Hasbro. Nice design. But anyways, you guys can kind of see on the layer, if the camera would focus, we can see the helmet there, and we do of the knight dude, and we do also see his little dog slash canine companion there too, which is very nice to see. And we do get to also see the chains going around as well that he's controlling this canine with. And we can also see the canine's fur and its paws there. So very nice to see on Tyros. And again, with better lighting, I think we can actually see this better. If the camera would focus. There we go. There you go. Perfect. You can see it really nice there. Also, you get to see a chain link T for Tyros as well. Also with some T's going at the top and the bottom. So again, very nice design for a balanced type, very round. So with this release of it, we do get to see a reissue of the Infinity Disc, which is very nice to see. As we can see, I already talked about it before with Zillion Zeus or Zillion Zootron in the US. That's its US name. But there you go. That is that. And also, you do get to see a reissue of the Zephyr driver in orange. So nice to see. So there you go. That is Tyros. Very, very nice looking. Now moving forwards into the Chosealer system, where we're taking a look at probably one of the most powerful balance types to come out of that system, that being Dead Hades. Now, Dead Hades is, or Dread Hades in the US, because obviously we can't be talking about death, so good job Hasbro for the censorship. Dead Hades is obviously enough based on yet another demon. This case, Hades, the mythological interpretation of hell. So there you go. And as we can kind of see there, we do see the demon right there with his face there. Now, you will notice that it does look a lot like a certain Marvel villain. Yes, we already know it looks like Thanos, but no, this is not Thanos. This is just how it happened to turn out, looking like Thanos. Now, welcome back, Zen22, to the stream. And we do get to see also on Hades here, we also do get to see these nice sides going around. So, yep, looks like Deathscyther isn't the only one who's swinging sides around. Looks like Hades is also adapted to using that sickle-like weapon as well. So, there you go. Now, the whole gimmick on the Japanese was the Hasbro hasn't done here was again the metal, which Hasbro surprisingly enough did actually make these parts anyway metal, as you may tell there. And the gimmick behind this one was the hexaweights. So the hexaweights are pretty self-explanatory. Little hexagons that go around the sides that add an additional weight to the Beyblade in terms of these contact points. So, which in practice does work really, really well. Now, another addition that was also nice on the Japanese is that this little H for Hades was actually all one big plate of metal underneath this little design here, which was really, really cool because it added an additional bit of weight and made this thing quite the tank for its initial release. But again, because it's Hasbro, it doesn't have that metal plating and it doesn't have the hexaweights as well, which sucks. But we do get to see the metal sides though, so that's nice to see. So there you go. There you have Dead Hades there, and there's the back of the layer where the metal would be sitting. So there you go. Now with this release, we do also get to see the return of the 11 disc for the umpteenth time. So nice to see. Not much to say about this because I already said my thoughts on the look at Xenoexcalibur in part 1. So actually not part 1, part 2. So there you go. And also with this, we also get to see the release of a brand new frame, that being the turn frame. Now, we already saw this again on Judgment Joker, who you may have seen in my original review, but you guys will see it again later on in this little mini series. So for a turn, the whole gimmick is that it basically, just like any other frame, can snap on like this, but it can also change the rotation of the spikes here. So you see how the spikes are kind of pointing this way and kind of spinning like a buzzsaw? Yeah, that is its attack mode. So again, pretty self-explanatory. The spikes are used to inflict damage on the opponent when it is attacked from underneath. And also, it also has another mode, which when you flip it around, like so, you just simply take it and then flip it, and then you take the prongs on the bottom and you snap them in like that. You could put it in its defense mode. Now it's spinning now the spikes are now pointed backwards. So now these will instead kind of prally away attacks instead of trying to inflict damage. So there you go. There you have the turn frame. Very, very nice. And you get it again in this really nice red color, and it debuted with Dead Hades. And then lastly, we do get to see the return of the Zephyr driver. Now, in the Japanese, this would be the Dash version. Because this is Hasbro, we just got it in a standard purple color, without the strong golden spring or the red cap. So, quite the bummer there. But still, very nice Beyblade though. Really glad I got this release. And the reason why I don't have the Japanese version is because, I don't know if I stated it, but it was released in a random booster, so yeah, bummer. So, also, next up here, we're going to take a look at the complementary Beyblade to Dead Hades. We're going to take a look at the defense type that goes along with this Beyblade in the anime and just the toy line in general. Revive Phoenix. Now, this version of Revive Phoenix here that I have is actually the Black Wing version. Now, the Black Wing version was very rare on the Japanese release, so I'm very glad I have this, and one of these days, this guy could probably buy me a house because of how rare this Beyblade actually is. But since it is used, it's probably not gonna get me too much money. But anyway, that aside, this Revive Phoenix is really, really nice. I really like the look of this Beyblade, and it is a defense type, and it is obviously enough based on the Phoenix, the bird that the bird from Greek mythology that was gifted with immortality, and also had the gift of controlling fire, which is always cool. So there you go. Now, in particular, why this Black Wing Revive Phoenix is colored this way is because it is related to the anime, where in the anime, when Revive Phoenix is using its full power, it will turn black, which looks really cool in the anime, and I'm glad that they actually made this into a physical product. So there you go. Now, with Revive Phoenix, there is a gimmick with this. So, like how I said, the Phoenix has a gift of immortality and has the ability to revive itself if its fire is put out. Revive Phoenix literally does this because in battle it will burst, which is a way of it will take off this armor. This is the Phoenix armor that comes on it. And again, just like the Phoenix, this is because how bursts work in the anime is just kind of like the death of the Beyblade, but in this case, it comes back in a smaller kind of form. So there you go. So really do like this gimmick of how they literally took the mythos of the Phoenix coming back from the dead, and they literally made it do it on the toy. So really nice. And let me take the parts off real quick here so that we can get a better look at Phoenix when it's in its small form. Focus. There we go. And as you can see the Phoenix there with its head. You can see its eye there and its kind of flaming chest and its flaming, scorching wings there, which looks really, really cool. So I really do like the layer of Revive Phoenix. Very, very cool. And just like all Chozy Beyblades, it does have metal on the top, bottom, and all around the inside of its second form. So there you go. Now next off, we're going to take a look at the disc, which was new to Revive Phoenix, the 10 disc. Now the 10 disc looks very much like a set of bird plumage. As you can see, it has these 5 little protrusions on the side, which total up to 10 combined. So there you go. There you have the 10 disc. Very nice. Then lastly, we do get the driver here, which is called Friction. Now, Friction actually is interesting because it has this rubber ring that goes around the entirety of the tip here, but the middle is POM plastic. So basically this part is extra slippery and helps with stamina, and the rubber is supposed to help it because if it's knocked over, it can simply use the rubber to spin itself back to knock itself back into a stable position. So very nice to see. And also the rubber can help with preventing knockouts as well, which again is kind of an improved version of Guard if you think about it, from Blast Genius. So there you go. So there you have it. Revive Phoenix, very cool Beyblade, and again, we will show it off with Dead Hades, so you have the two brothers there. Really nice to see. So there you go. Now, also, the last Beyblade to take a look at least for this box anyway, is related to the anime, this evolution of Revive Phoenix. Now, in the anime, just a little bit of kind of briefing here, is that Revive Phoenix defeats and completely destroys Dead Hades. But from the parts it makes of Dead Hades, it combines the two bays together, making this fusion beast Beyblade, which is quite literally described in the anime as the god of destruction, that being Dead Phoenix. Yes. So obviously the name, obviously enough, is based on, again, it's still based on the Phoenix, but now it takes elements from its counterpart, Dead Hades. So there you go. And this Bey looks really, really fearsome. You can see why this Beyblade is called the God of Destruction. Now, in the anime and in real life, this is the heaviest layer for Cho-Z. Because look at all that metal. This thing is a heavy boy. So this thing can tank hits really well. And again, to show the two Beyblades again previously, here we have the previous Revive Phoenix. And here it is also with Dead Hades, so you can see how the hexoates are translated into the metal wings of Phoenix. So you can see how that works. So, and just like Revive Phoenix before it, the armor does come off, and actually, if you have Revive Phoenix, you can actually do two separate bonus forms, which I'm going to show you in a moment. So, as I said before, the armor does come off. Now, unlike the previous Phoenix, where it had metal going around it, this is all polycarbonate plastic, making it extremely light in this form. So, there you go. And when you combine it again, and just like we saw on Revive Phoenix, the armor can come off as well, and this goes into their bonus forms. So if you take the Revive, or the Phoenix armor off of Revive Phoenix, and you put it on Dead Hades, or Dead Phoenix in this case, you will get the combined form known as Imperfect Phoenix. So this is basically just Revive Phoenix's Phoenix armor on Dead Hades, making it much lighter and much more susceptible to bursting. So there you go. There is Imperfect Phoenix. Now, when you actually take Revive Phoenix and you put on Dead Phoenix's armor, you can get the combined form of Perfect Phoenix. So now the metal of the inner part now meshes with the weight of the outer Dead armor, which that's what this is called, the Dead armor in this case. It makes it extremely heavy. So this thing is even heavier than its original version, making this thing the literal Perfect Phoenix, because this thing is just heavy and destroys bays. It is awesome. So there you go. There is the gimmick there with Dead Phoenix. So nice that I got the two. And again, I also showed off this gimmick in my original review of both the Hasbro and Takara versions respectively, but I'm just reiterating it here just for the sake of the collection. So there you go. And there is Dead Phoenix's inner part in better focus there, so you can see the nice details on there. And you will see that the stickers are a bit scratched up due to use, but still looks very nice. Now, alongside Dead Phoenix, we also do get, in this particular release, the Zero disc, which, again, we already saw this before with Spray Requiem, so very nice to see. And it's in this nice silver, and it is actually newer because it's actually not doled out on this particular version, just because I don't use my Dead Phoenix very often. So there you go. Then lastly, we are going to take a look at the Japanese release here of the Atomic Driver, which is now in this black and red color. Again, same gimmick as Hasbro, where it has the free spinning ring and the ball. So, there you go. So there is Dead Phoenix, and I love this Beyblade so much. It's one of my favorite releases of Chozi, and what a awesome villain to end the season off on. I mean, my God, this thing is a beast. So there you go. That is Dead Phoenix. Really nice to see. Now, moving upwards to this box up here, we're going to be taking a look at a couple Beyblades from here. Starting with the first version of the Beyblade we looked at earlier, Xenoexcalibur, that being just Excalibur. Now, this particular release of Excalibur I have here is the gold Excalibur version. Now, in the US, this was released in a master kit, as they called it in Hasbro, and the name was changed to Excalius, and this particular release was called Gold Excalius. So, there you go. So, for comparison, again, we're going to bring in Xenoexcalibur, so you can see the difference between the two layers. So, there you go. There you have them. And it is still attack type this time around as well. And as you can see, it does have, if I can actually put Xenoexcalibur back in the box there, we have this nice gold color going on. We do have the X kind of marking in the middle for obviously Excalibur, and we do get to see a smaller but yet more realistic kind of sword going on there, with some dragon heads and some fire going down, which look very, very nice. Now, in Japan, this was also released with black stickers that would go on the flames and also on the bird heads and on the little jewel here. That went by the same name of Gold Excalibur. But that Beyblade is extremely rare because it came out during the initial press release of Beyblade Burst back in 2015. So that layer and Beyblade in general is very, very rare and fetches some fairly high prices online. But thankfully Hasbro did make a release of this, for those who weren't going to spend the hefty price tag on the Japanese version. So there you go. So that's Excalibur there. Very, very nice layer. And one of the coolest looking attack types that was released for the first season of Beyblade Burst. That being simply the Burst System versions. So there you go. Now with this Beyblade, we do get the initial debut of the Force Disc. So we already looked at it before with Dark Deathscyther, so not going to talk too much about it, so the camera focus. So there you go. This is its initial debut release. And lastly, we do get the debut re-release of Extreme in this nice gold and black color with the black rubber there. Obviously coinciding with the gold and black, silver, red kind of color scheme we got going on with this particular version of Excalibur. Now, in the US, we did get a proper version that is more aligned to Xeno Excalibur's color scheme, but unfortunately, that version I just couldn't find during the early seasons of Beyblade Burst in the US. So this is the only version I got of it, is the gold version. Also, the Karatobi version is becoming increasingly rarer as well. Not just the gold release, but also the original color variants. So, yeah, this is probably going to be the only version of this particular mold of Excalibur I'm ever going to get. But hey, not going to be a greedy here. At least I got a version. And on top of that, a really nice gold version. So there you go. Now next up here, we're going to be taking a look at the Japanese version of Excalibur, Xenoexcalibur being, there it is, Xenoexcalibur. So this is the Japanese release. Now again, for comparison's sake, we're going to bring in the US version so you can see the notable differences there. Now I did say before that the Karatomi version did have a red jewel on the sword, but mine mysteriously fell off in a battle and I can't seem to find it, neither find a replacement sticker sheet to replace the jewel on. So unfortunately, it is gone forever, so bummer there. As you can see, it does have some clicks on it as well. Now, funny enough, on the Japanese version, when you look at the X in the right light, the blue meshing with the gold will actually make the X look like it's shining green, which is kind of cool. I like that. Kind of nice little gimmick there on Xenoexcalibur. Now, fun fact, Xenoexcalibur was my first ever Japanese Beyblade I have ever gotten. So there you go. This Beyblade's very, very old. And that's why the stickers are so worn. Now with this, we do get to see the Japanese version of Magnum, which, as you can see, is definitely a lot more clear on this version. I'm getting out the original Magnum so you can see just the sheer difference of it being, this is more cloudy and this is more kind of translucent looking, if the camera would focus. 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 There we go. So you can see the differences in the color there. Very significant there. Then lastly, we do get to also see the impact driver make a return. If I would actually put the parts right. There we go. So we do get to see the impact driver, the original version, which the black is now, it's in red, and it does have this nice translucent blue going on, if the camera would focus. There we go. And for comparison, we're going to bring in the Hasbro version so you can see the differences between the two. So there you go. There you have Xenoexcalibur. Very, very nice looking Beyblade. And for the Japanese version, and for my first experience with a Japanese Beyblade in years, it is quite the one to enter with. Sure, it hasn't aged well, and sure, I wish it still has some of the original stickers on it, and I wish the stickers weren't so all, messed up and kind of fallen off, but hey, I'm happy I at least have this Excalibur and not had completely skipped out on it in general. So, nice to have. So, later on in the God system, we did get to see a God version of it as well, which is going to be the last Beyblade for this episode. So, we are going to take a look at its God evolution, Xenoexcalibur, also known as Surge Excalius in the US. So, Xenoexcalibur here, as you can see, has a much bigger sword than its original version. Let me bring in the Xenoexcalibur for comparison, so you can see the differences there. Now, unlike its previous version, the sword on it is actually real metal, which is really, really cool. Adds some nice weight to it. And we also have some nice flame details, and the dragon heads are much more pronounced here, with the little sword kind of shield bits coming out there. And you also can see some engraved flame details going around, which look really, really cool. So there you go. Xenoexcalibur. Now, not Xenoexcalibur, Siege Excalibur, or Siege Excalibur. So, how you want to pronounce it. But funny enough, kind of an interesting fact here is that the avatar for this is actually a sword that transforms into a swordsman wielding a miniature version of itself. Yeah, good job to Karatomi with the wild avatar for it, which again, I will show you guys that at the end in its own bonus episode segment. So next up here, you're going to take a look at the disc that comes with it, that being the one disc. Now, the one disc, if we can focus here, carries on the same idea as the Force and the Magnum disc on the previous releases. That being that when you place it on in the correct configuration, when it is close to bursting, the tip of the sort of frame here, or not frame, the disc, will mash up well with the sword, thus making for a double strike function. So very, very cool. Makes for some nice burst finishes and definitely makes this Beyblade a lot more powerful when it is closer to bursting. So nice God gimmick there. So, and then lastly, we're going to take a look at the driver for this, which is called iron. Now, iron, obviously enough, is made of metal, respectively. And it basically functions the same way as Excel, being that it's supposed to move aggressively around the stadium. But this time, it is all in metal for the tip, which looks really cool. And also, we do get this nice kind of wave detail for the iron driver on the top. So, and I love the name, Iron. It just sounds powerful. I really like it. Unlike Extreme and Impact, now we get something powerful like Iron. I love that name. So, there you go. There we have Xenoexcalibur there. And now it's going to be the last Beyblade for this episode. But to kind of leave you guys with something a little bit to kind of, get the hype going here, is that the next Beyblade we're going to be taking a look at is this guy. This is Buster Excalibur, but we're not going to see this in full until the next video. So, alright guys, so that's going to be it for today's episode. If you guys want to see more parts and or watch the previous episodes, as I said before, I will leave links in part 1 to all the parts of this series. And also for this episode, I'll be leaving a link to part 3 in the description, so you can see that part directly from the description bar. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and ring that little bell icon, so that way you guys can keep up to date with my videos. Right down there next to the subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Maybe later today, if